Hi everyone, my name is Diana Lee, and in this video I'll be showing you all how to create an almost free website. What you will have to pay for is a domain name, which will cost you about $12, and that'll be pretty much it. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is to go ahead and navigate to cloud.google.com, and if this is your first time using their cloud services, this will be fairly easy to walk through. I will not be going over how to use the cloud and their free tier solutions in case you've already used these cloud services. I'm only going to be going over if this is your first time. Okay, so on the left hand side, you'll see Get Started for Free. We'll go ahead and click that. And the first thing that it's going to ask you for is which country you're in, and that you've read all of their free trial terms of services, if you want to go ahead and read that. Okay, it's actually not very long. We'll go ahead and hit continue. And secondly, they are going to want a payment profile, and they do this in order to verify that an individual is behind this account, and that you're also not just like creating a bunch of accounts and trying to use their free services. So we'll go ahead and fill this stuff out. Okay, so now that you've filled out your billing information, you'll be redirected to console.cloud.google.com. And this means that we're ready to create our virtual machine to start hosting our WordPress website. So I opened up a new tab and I searched for WordPress on Google Cloud. And the very first result that appears is WordPress Cloud Hosting. I'll go ahead and click on that. And that'll redirect me to a new page. And I'll go ahead and select Deploy WordPress. And when you select deploy, make sure that you're still on the correct account that you updated your billing information for. Sometimes when you're signing into multiple accounts, it goes to your default account or your most used account. So make sure you're on the correct account. And once you are here, you will see that the estimated cost is about $13.61 a month. And if you multiply that by 12, that'll be under the $300 limit that you have for the year. So this is pretty good. I'll go ahead and select launch. And I created a project called My Website Project. And here are a couple of options so you can configure your virtual machine instance. So essentially what a virtual machine instance is that it'll be on the server itself, except that you won't be using the entire server just for you. There are multiple people, multiple things running on that server. So the instance itself is just allocated for your WordPress website, or if you decide to use any other virtual machine for any other reason, it kind of keeps all of your stuff contained in a specific area, and it makes sure that other users or other processes don't try to kind of use any of your stuff. So we're essentially kind of creating our own little area on this server. I'll leave it as WordPress 1. I would encourage you to use something a little bit more descriptive, something like the name of your website. So my website _ WordPress, something of that sort. No dashes. Okay, and then the default zone is fine. If you'd like to see where these zones are, so these are just kind of like the locations of the servers. So you have a bunch in the US, so you have some on the east side, central, west. You have some servers in Europe, Asia, all over the place. So if you're interested in that, you can look up regions and zones. The default is fine. think earlier I had, yep, US East 1B, and the price went down a little bit, so depending where the server is, the price changes a little bit. Not all the servers are exactly the same, so I'll just choose 1B, that's fine for me. And then the machine type, there are lots to choose from. So they have given us a small machine, so it gives us 1.7 gigabytes of memory, and you have a shared vCPU, and that is fine because you're just hosting a website and you're not doing anything that's computation heavy. If you were to see some type of like slowdown like on your website and you're really not feeling that, you can go ahead and bump up some of your hardware. So here are like 2 CPUs instead of sharing one, but the price does change depending on what hardware you're using. Okay, so I would go ahead and stay small. And for the administrator email, go ahead and choose an email that you'd like to get updates on. It'll tell you about the state of your virtual machine, and if anything's kind of going on with it, it'll go ahead and send you updates. So go ahead and choose an email. I'll just use my husband's since I already used my free trial. Okay. Install phpMyAdmin. This kind of allows you to access the database if you need to. Your boot disk, there's an HDD or an SSD version. HDD is fine. If you want to use SSD, that's okay too. The price goes up just a little bit. I'll just leave it as HDD, and 10 gigs should be fine. And then we'll go ahead and leave our networking interfaces also default. We don't need to mess with that. And then for the firewall, we are going to select allow HTTP traffic from the internet because I had tried to deselect that, and when I launched my virtual machine, I was not able to access the website at all. So we definitely need HTTP traffic so that we can be in contact with that virtual instance. So leave that selected. And Stackdriver, we will leave both of those empty. And we're pretty much done now. We'll go ahead and hit deploy. And this will take a couple of minutes. So we'll go ahead and let it finish setting up. And once it's set up, it'll provide us with an IP address and also WordPress credentials. So that way we can actually log into our WordPress and start customizing it. After a couple of minutes, your VM instance should be ready to go. You'll have an IP address under site address, and then under admin URL, you'll have the IP address /WordPress admin. Go ahead and click that, and it'll open up a new tab, and it'll prompt you for a login username and password. And you will also get that from your VM instance. You'll have an admin username, and then there is a temporary password. So go ahead and plug those into your login. Go ahead and hit login, and then you will be redirected to the WordPress dashboard. And this is one of my favorite things about WordPress is the back end over here. And it's going to take some time for you to kind of explore this. But you'll see why it's pretty cool. You're able to make multiple pages on your website. You're also able to make posts. And there are a ton of plugins for you to look through. So you can do like add new. And there's just a ton that you can add onto your website. And then the first thing you want to do is under appearance is actually choose a theme. So if we click up here on this little home button and it says visit site, go ahead and click on that, and you'll be able to see that there's a template up here for you of your WordPress website. And we're going to want to update that to a theme that we enjoy, something that reflects kind of whatever it is that we're trying to market, or if we're just trying to tell people a little bit about ourselves. There are tons of free templates and themes for you to use, so I implore you all to look through these. And there's also an upload theme option in case you wanted to go like on Google and search for free WordPress themes. There are tons of them, and you can look up whatever it is, like if you're into minimal themes or if you're into more like tech themes. So there are tons to choose from, and then I'm gonna choose one just for now. And it's easy to install and then activate. And now if we go to our website again, it'll have that new theme up here. And if you go to customize, that allows you to customize some of like the colors, your tags. Here it's like the site title. So this shows up on like on the little tab bar. It says WordPress on Google Compute Engine. Instead I'm gonna say welcome to my site. And then this will say Diana Lee Guzman. I mean, you could do whatever it is that you like. You could display it, not display it. One thing I do have to say though is that all of the layouts are different. So some of them might have banners, some might not have banners. Some might let you change certain color schemes, might let you change like the footer colors, but maybe not the header colors. You can have some offer different type of menu options, different menu styles. So all of the themes are really different. So once again, it's important for you to kind of go through and pick out what theme that you like and try on a bunch of different of them. Okay. And then if I go back to my dashboard, your pages too, you can customize pages, and these pages you can link through a menu. So I'm not going to jump in too deep about how to customize your WordPress website. That'll be something that you kind of have to do on your own time, so that you can customize what it is that you want to communicate and how you want to communicate it. So it's pretty friendly to use, pretty easy to use. It just takes some time for you to kind of figure out how you envision your website. Okay, so this is like the graphics portion of your website, and you don't have to know like any HTML, CSS, JavaScript, any of this stuff, because the templates are already there for you. If you want to do that, there are ways to make WordPress templates. I'm not saying they're easy, but if that's the route you want to go down, I encourage you to go ahead and do that. But this is just a really quick way for you to get like your website up and going. Okay. Now, this is like one of our final steps, is for us to be able to have our domain name now point to our server. So if you purchase from domains.google.com, go ahead and head there and make sure once again that you're under the correct account. And if you have a domain name purchased through here, you can go ahead. I'll actually use a different domain for now. I don't have a domain under that user, but just to kind of walk you through this example, on the left hand side you'll see domain name server on the left, DNS, and this is where you're going to point to your virtual machine instance. If you go ahead and scroll down to where it says custom resource records. So I already have some stuff going on for my personal website, but what you're going to want to do is create a new resource record, leave it with the little @ symbol. It'll be a type record A, leave it at 1 hour, and then the IP4 address will be the address of your virtual machine instance. So go ahead and plug that IP address into here and click add. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to type in www. And then whatever. Actually, you can just leave it as www. That's what I did for one of my personal websites. And you're going to make a type CNAME, leave it at 1 hour, and then you're going to type in your actual domain. So mine is codingandcolor.net. And what this does is that in the current state, if somebody were to type www.codingandcolor.net, I did not buy www.codingandcolor.net, I just bought codingandcolor.net. So what this does is that whenever somebody does type in www.yourwebsitedomain.com, it forwards it to your domain, and your domain will be now linked to your virtual machine instance. So it's kind of like, it's not the technically correct word, but just to envision it is kind of like it's just forwarding it to your domain, and your domain is already hooked up with your virtual machine using that A record. So you'll go ahead and add both of those. You'll have 2 of them. And this usually doesn't happen very quickly. It could take a couple, if this is your first time and you haven't tried messing with these records before, it should take just a couple of minutes. I would give it like maybe up to half an hour. And if for some reason you already kind of poked around in here, it could take up to 48 hours to actually have your domain name point to your virtual machine instance. So just give it some time. In the meanwhile, you could be working kind of like on your theme and what kind of template that you want to use and poke around with WordPress. But yeah, I would check like maybe every 15-30 minutes or so. Try to go to your domain name and see if any of your updates have, if your domain name now brings up your website. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed this, if you found that it was kind of useful, or if there's some, feedback that you'd like to provide, like, hey, you kind of missed this step, go ahead and leave that in the comments. And like I said, if you did find it useful, feel free to like and or subscribe. We'd really appreciate that. It would help us reach new users. Alrighty, thank you so much.